Hello everyone and welcome back to Prestige Reef. Once again, I've decided to make a video designed to make you think. I believe our tanks are rarely intentional. They're usually cobbled together over time to what eventually forms a mishmash of creatures living in a glass box together, and almost always our successes are built on the bones of what went wrong. Within reason, at first you can have whatever inhabitants you want, anything, but not everything. Your tank is essentially a blank slate. Your only true limitations is your desire to succeed and financial situation, and to some extent even one of those is debatable. I have seen many amazing tanks run by both people who are incredibly rich and others who appear to have very little. It all comes down to choices, and the people that have very little prioritise their tank over other luxuries. For example, my first tank was set up for free, and I worked my way up to the coral farm. Going back to my original statement, you can have anything but not everything. The reason no tank is the same is because we have a virtually unlimited amount of choices at first, with each choice gradually becoming more narrow until the final choice is made for us when there is no more room in the tank. Whether you want a low maintenance tank, a large pufferfish, or a nano tank filled with difficult acropora, you can have them all. You can have any of them, but not all of them at the same time in the same tank. And a plan at the beginning will help you achieve that goal. This doesn't just apply to your reef tank, it applies to many different parts of your life. Lots of people have told you to plan before getting the tank, but no one tells you how to plan. The first thing you need to do is start asking yourself questions about what you really want from your tank. I ask this question all the time during consultations, and more often than not, the person doesn't actually know. Almost everyone starts these consultations with, should I buy this tank, or should I use this product? These questions are fine, but in reality, the brands you choose will have little impact on your success or failure. Starting with those questions is like building a 4-story house, and starting on the 3rd floor. When considering a saltwater tank, you need to start with the foundations. What are your core values? What matters to you most? Are you getting the tank because you love the animals? Because it's a challenge? Because your child just happened to see Finding Nemo and you're going for Parent of the Year? Or is it simply a status symbol like it is for many people around the world? I, for example, enjoy the challenge. I want something that tests me, therefore for this reason, a soft coral tank or a fish-only system is unlikely to fulfill me long term. From that foundation, you can then start to build the first story, which is how much time you're willing to spend on it, how much money you're willing to spend, what your goals are in the long term. Is this a starter tank that you'll shut down after 6 months, or your 10th and supposedly final forever tank? The second story is your plan as to how to achieve these goals, how you'll earn more money so you can get what you want, how much knowledge you'll need. The third story is the tank, equipment and method, and the top floor is your choice of livestock. The finished tank itself is the exterior of the house. A few people will have watched it being built, but 99% of people will only ever have seen the exterior, and they will have no idea what it took to get there. If you're starting your tank thinking about what products are important, but you don't know all the other things, your tank has no foundations, and a tank with no foundations will quickly fail. People's first attempt at keeping a saltwater tank is almost always a mess, and as I said at the beginning, our tanks are built on the skeletons of what went wrong. We need to start being accountable. Our choices have consequences. For example, sure, you can throw a copper band into an established group of tanks and hope for the best, or you can put that same copper band into an acclimation box for a couple of weeks to allow the tanks to get used to it. That simple decision is very likely the difference between life and death for that copper band. The choice is obvious, but I'd be willing to bet that most people would just throw it in. Most people don't think about a battery backup until they have their first serious power cut that crashed the tank. Some people will happily buy a clown tank, only to realise it now kills every fish that you're trying to keep with it. Or even that pretty little Galaxia that you accidentally placed too close to your prized Trachyphilia. All of these are preventable deaths, which would have been completely avoided with a little groundwork at the beginning. Once you've developed a proper plan and done the research to go with that plan, you'll have the confidence and freedom to do whatever you want, without having to worry about if your choices are right or wrong, because you already know that they're right for you. As I said before, No one cares about your tank but you, and only you will be dealing with your mistakes. There has never been an easier time to enter the hobby than today. We have everything we need at our fingertips. All the problems hobbyists had to face 30 years ago, some very kind people have already solved for us. Now don't get me wrong, there are still problems. There will always be problems. We are dealing with living creatures, and even dogs, who were domesticated 30,000 years ago, still occasionally shit on the carpet. So if there will always be problems, our job is to mitigate them. The response to this is very simple: knowledge and effort. Having a £300 light or a £700 light is unlikely to be the difference between success or failure, but knowledge and effort 100% will. Tens of thousands of people have success with their tanks, both big and small, with large and small budgets. If your tank is failing, that's directly on you. Something you're doing is wrong. Our tanks aren't magic. If disease is in your tank, you put it there. If your phosphates are high, something you did or didn't do made them high. We have to accept the ultimate responsibility is with us, and that means owning both our successes and failures. If you're at the very start of your journey, but nervous, wondering if you should take that first step, use that fear and apprehension to rethink your approach. Let it fuel you to gain enough knowledge, more than you need, at the beginning to enable you to make wise decisions. The majority of these animals are taken from their home, to enable them to give us joy in our homes. They aren't an endless replaceable commodity, and they should be looked after and treasured. I hope you enjoy watching my video. Please feel free to comment below if you have any questions. If you did enjoy it, why not click that like and subscribe button. As always, as I say, a massive thank you to everyone that supports the channel on Patreon. Have a good week, and I'll see you next time.